this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division after 50 games skated. 50 games on the season already. 26-22-2 is their record. 54 points is their point total. They are currently 13 points behind first place Colorado in the Central Division. Update of those standings coming up momentarily on home ice, which is where the Nashville Predators' next game will take place, the final game before the All-Star break. They have a home record of 13-12-0. The Preds have scored 151 goals in the season. They've given up 156 goals in the season. It means they have a goal differential of -5. In the Central Division standings, updated, Colorado Avalanche are in first place with 67 points. The Dallas Stars find themselves in second place with 66 points. The Winnipeg Jets are in third place with 65 points. So the three-team lead at the top of the Central Division continues, and I suspect it's going to continue until the final days of the season between these three teams before we know who is going to be seeds 1, 2, and 3. And then you've got a big bunch up in the middle of the pack here. The St. Louis Blues have jumped the Nashville Predators, 54 points, same point total as the Preds, but they've skated in 2 fewer games than the Nashville Predators, only skating in 48 at this moment in time. The Nashville Predators have skated in 50 games and have 54 points on the season. The Arizona Coyotes are in 6th place with 49 points. Then Minnesota Wild at 47 points. And the Chicago Blackhawks are the only team in irrelevancy territory already at this point in the season in the Central Division, as frankly they have been since the very beginning. They're in 8th and last place in the Central. The wild card standings. This is of interest to all Nashville Predators fans and something we will update on each and every episode going forward, because the Preds are going to be in this wild card race, I think, up until the final games of the season. The LA Kings currently hold wild card spot 1 with 54 points. The St. Louis Blues have 54 points. And yes, the Nashville Predators have 54 points, but due to tiebreakers on the outside, looking in at this moment, the first team on the outside, the Seattle Kraken, the second team on the outside looking in at 52 points, 2 points behind the Preds, also behind St. Louis and LA. You see how these things are going. Now, for the Nashville Predators, after this next home game against the LA Kings, the second of 3 regular season meetings, it will be time for the All-Star break. And I think we have a Nashville Predators team that very much needs an All-Star break at this moment in time. A mental break, if you will. Perhaps a physical break as well. Some of the players starting to look a little bit worn down at the 50-game mark of the season. After the Preds wrap up the All-Star break after this LA Kings game, they will be back on the ice on February the 10th versus Arizona. So almost a 10-day break for this Nashville Predators team. Then on the 13th of February versus the New Jersey Devils at Bridgestone Arena. On the 15th of February versus Dallas Stars at Bridgestone Arena. Those are going to be important games coming out of the break. Arizona, of course, right in the middle of the pack and competing for a playoff spot with the Preds. And the Dallas Stars, of course, above the Predators in the standings. But those points in the Central Division are going to be of critical importance. At St. Louis, first road game out of the break is on February the 17th. And on February the 20th, the Preds are in Vegas against the Golden Knights. Now, I mentioned it's the second of 3 regular season meetings. So let's go back and talk about the first meeting of the season. It was on January the 18th when the Preds went into LA for the first of 2 stops this year. They won that game 2-1. UC Saros picked up the victory, and he was dynamic in that game. 33 out of 34 getting the win. O'Reilly and Nyquist had the goals for the Nashville Predators. Big save Dave was in net for the LA Kings. He took the loss and went 31 out of 33. Doughty had the only goal of the game for LA. It came on the power play. These two teams will meet one more time in LA. That will take place on February the 22nd. So from January 18th to February 22nd, the entire 3-game series of the regular season between these two teams will be concluded. Now, there is one injury update before we break down the Kings and get into this matchup. Alex Carey left the most recent game for the Nashville Predators, not currently listed as out or on IR or anything, so we will just consider him to be day-to-day at this moment in time. The LA Kings are 22-15-10 on the season, 54 points. 4th in the Pacific Division. They have a great road record, 14-6-4. They have scored 148 goals. They've given up 130 goals. So that means they have a goal differential of plus 18. Now, again, the LA Kings are tied with the Nashville Predators in points and in the wild card race at this moment in time. The most previous 5 games for the Kings. Let's go back to January the 20th. There's a 2-1 win versus the New York Rangers on the 22nd January, 4-3 shootout loss versus the San Jose Sharks on the 24th of January, 5-3 loss versus Buffalo on the 26th of January, 5-1 loss at the Colorado Avalanche, and most recently on the 28th of January, 4-3 overtime loss at St. Louis. Ridge got the start, took the loss 28 out of 32, giving up 4 goals in that game. Now, taking a look inside the numbers, the matchup for this Nashville Predators LA Kings matchup, the LA Kings are going to be ahead in the majority of the big statistical metrics that we track right here. So let's start with the Nashville Predators. Goals for 2.98 is 18th in the league. The LA Kings 3.13 is 16th overall in the NHL. Goals against 3.12 for the Preds is 18th. For the LA Kings, 5th best rating in the NHL, only giving up 2.66 goals per game. That is highly impressive at this point in the season. In the shots for category, 30.7 for the Nashville Predators is 17th. 33.9 for LA is 2nd overall in the National Hockey League. In the shots against category, the Predators at 30.1 are 14th. The Kings are giving up 28 against per game. That's 3rd overall in the NHL. In special teams, power play, Preds 19.1% conversion rate is 20th overall in the league, 33 conversions on 173 opportunities, while the Kings have the 16th best power play in the league, converting at 21.3%, 33 conversions out of 155 opportunities. On the penalty kill, the Predators rated 27th overall in the NHL with a kill rate of 76.4%. They have given up 38 power play goals against on the season. The LA Kings have the best overall rated penalty kill in the National Hockey League. 87% kill rate. They've given up 19 power play goals against, and beware of this, they've also scored 8 shorthanded goals on the season. That's got you all set up for the team matchup, but what about the individual matchup? So every team in the NHL is loaded with high-skilled individual players, so we always like to talk about the top 5 scorers from each team. We've started on the Nashville Predators side of things, the home team in each of these categories, so let's go back and start in the rest of these categories. By the way, final notation, I forgot to mention, 4 of those top 6, can't count. 4 of those top 6 statistical metrics that we counter here and we talk about in the preview, all in the top 10 for the LA Kings, while the Predators have 0. So in the matchup head-to-head on paper, if we just walked out to center ice and dropped a stat sheet, the LA Kings would win this game decidedly. But that's not how it works out in the NHL. Now, the individual stats leaders for each of these teams: Philip Forsberg, 23 goals, 27 assists, 50 points. Sorry, coffee mug. Josi, 10 goals and 34 assists for 44 points. O'Reilly, 17 goals and 25 assists for 42 points. Nyquist, 12 and 25 for 37. And Colton Sissons, 13 goals and 12 assists for 25 points on the season. On the LA Kings side of things, the visiting team, Kempe leads the team in total points with 43. His breakdown is 17 goals and 26 assists. Kevin Fiala comes back to Bridgestone Arena, where he's had quite a bit of success in his career. 12 goals and 30 assists for 42 points on the season. Kopitar, 15 goals and 26 assists for 41 points. And Anze Kopitar usually plays quite well against the Nashville Predators. Moore has 21 goals. That leads the LA Kings, 13 assists for 34 points overall. And Byfield, 14 goals and 20 assists for 34 points out there on the blue line. He is a tough one to deal with. He moves with speed and explosiveness and has great hockey sense. Byfield is absolutely, he's already a star in this league, but people don't seem to know nearly enough about him. In goal, anticipated matchup, UC Saros gets the start for the All-Star break, a record of 19-8. 18-2. UC Saros' record now fallen below 500. Effectively, he has a record of 19-20, a save percentage of 903. 8 goals against of 2.94. Big save Dave Rittich, 4-1-3 on the season, 920 save percentage, 2.09 goals against average after taking the loss in the most recent game in St. Louis. Against the second of 3 meetings this season between the Preds and the Kings. These are of critical and valuable points heading into the All-Star break. The Preds need to get them some momentum, and they could use a big victory over a team that they're directly in competition with that would vault them back into the wild card situation going into the All-Star break instead of being on the outside looking in. That's got you all set up for the LA Kings and the Nashville Predators at Bridgestone Arena. We've got to go back and talk about the Nashville Predators at Ottawa. It is the full game recap, and it is presented by Rebirth Sports, and it's coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck Podcast.